Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Wolfenstein the Old Blood. And when I say back, I kind of mean back. It's been probably at least a week and a half, if not 2 weeks, maybe even more, since I last played. I got distracted. I am failing miserably at trying to play Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is a Nintendo game, so I can't make any footage about it at the same time. And so you're bouncing between two different games on top of other distractions that are not YouTube content created. Plus, let's be honest here, Wolfenstein the Old Blood is not really enthralling me. And I looked at the achievements. It doesn't seem like it's really enthralling a lot of people. Like, when I look at just like the percentage of people who actually made it to the end of the game, it doesn't seem like it's there. One of the problems certainly now is that I'll have completely forgotten all of the controls and any small amount of skill.
Helga's gotta be there.
I'm obviously going to forget any kind of like skills or systems in this game if I ever really learn them. I was struggling even up until this point playing on the easiest difficulty anyways. We're just really trying to get to the end of the story now. Almost certainly not going to play any of the levels a second time or try to do any of the challenges. Just trying to get to the end and be done with it. I wasn't enjoying the game before this. I probably won't enjoy it now. But also because I've been playing the Nintendo Switch, the buttons are all backwards, so now I think A is B and X is Y again.
What she's doing, it's bad, and you gotta stop it. Then snatch the goddamn folder. Only one more hill, Billy boy. Only one more.
The good news, I suppose, here to take from this, let's see, is that I am starting at like a nice point to catch up. Certainly is in the middle of an area that is going to let me be inside this robotic machine. And I guess it is an interesting question if we do find another sleep section, whether I'm even going to bother to try and do that or not. Alright. Alright, so it seems like left trigger and right trigger are going to swing this. Left bump would let me do that, but that doesn't make the most sense. It definitely feels like this could have been just a total game-breaking thing. We do see that there is a level here where you will need to break from that. And then it does just kind of seem like you're supposed to just shoot that to get to that. And then I guess the question really just comes down to pickups. Is it worth your effort to try and pick up bullets and such and look for collectibles while doing this whole sequence? Or should you just not break the sequence and have the cinematic experience that the game is trying to lead you towards? Arguably, I think the game is trying to help you somewhat here and allow you to collect and rebuild what is probably diminished resources while you can. because I can't help but just assume what's going to happen here is that we're going to have a battle that, even if you win, will lead towards you losing this robot. Like A and B both get you out of the controller, so yeah. We've got bodies falling all over the place in flame. Looks like there's someone there we're trying to protect, although we don't really have any message for that. It's odd, there's like this back area that seems to be protecting the back half of your attack, but yeah. This is really what you want to play. Like, you really still want to be in this whole system where you're just running around shooting people. That's clearly what this game is going to be best designed to do and work with. Although it does seem like you really can't take advantage of that, because if you do, they seem like they're going to just constantly respawn.
It's from elsewhere.
And so there's no way to really enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. Let's see. Yeah. And it's not like you can protect a zombie or protect a Nazi from a zombie and then the Nazi will cut you some slack or stop attacking you. It's very much a case where it definitely is very much a case where you should just shoot every single moving thing you see. Might have made some sense to have some civilians running around. In particular, if you're going to have this whole sequence of being in this city in the back half of the story, it would make sense to try and engage with that more. Pause now if you want to read that, because that's where you could have probably had a very good split with the main storyline and the main Wolfenstein series. Is you could have had the main game focus more so that there aren't ever any civilians, and then that you could have the horror game focus in such a way that you can accidentally kill civilians, and BJ Blazkowicz can be a little bit out of character and perhaps a little bit more evil. Or accidentally evil, I suppose, would be really the direction you'd want to take it. I mean, you already see this horrific experience here, and I half expect you to fall into this whole crack. And we have a blown up car, but it doesn't blow up so much that it's out of your way. It really does just kind of come off as a horrific destruction that you would expect to have been like, this is the Blitz, this is an area getting bombed in the UK, or an area being bombed even in Germany, more than just this is a bunch of zombies that have escaped. And it weirdly still doesn't come off as a area that makes a lot of sense. Like, if you were trying to make this a multiplayer map, that doesn't make any sense. Pause now if you want to read this. Like, it's concepts of areas. Apparently, we need to find a key. Yeah, concepts of areas that don't, I think, get fleshed out anywhere well enough. We know there's only a couple more levels in the game, and that's kind of necessary because you're getting less return for every time you shoot something. And yeah, it's still totally possible that this could all be happening in the concussed / crazed mind of BJ Blazkowicz, and that none of this is actually real. I'm collecting a lot of armor and health that's unnecessary. They seem to have intentionally put a civilian on fire there. Just...
Still there, Blazkowicz? I'm here, Kessler. What's your status?
Status is airborne. I took over at Zeppelin, flying it to Berlin to spread the flyers.
You're crazy as a loon, Kessler.
I know I will not make it out alive. It's a strange feeling to meet your end with determination. I feel a sense of, what's the word? Glückseligkeit, bliss. I hope that someday you will know this too.
I hope so too.
So I guess that's the end of the story for Kessler, is that he's stolen a Zeppelin, which we can see there's a Zeppelin, maybe not the one he stole, and he's off to Berlin to distribute flyers against the Nazis. I imagine for the 3 or 4 sentences you had there, it's believable that there could have been a different story completion had you saved the girl. Is that really good enough to make you want to do that? I don't think so. I feel like also we very much have a situation here where you're being foreshadowed that as soon as you go through this area you're going to be in a boss fight. So I'll just double shoot shotguns at everyone I see, particularly if there's a lot. This one, let's see. This is the one we need to kill a decent amount of people with. That was one of the last challenges I recall. So let's see if we can pull that off. You can't really get up into where that statue was, I don't think. They seem to be climbing out of the fire. So it does seem like they're definitely trying to have us like run the gauntlet here through a narrow hallway to experience the zombie scare as much as we can. At a certain level, I guess it does make sense that there would be. Let's see, what was the throw a grenade thing? So that would have been like the first time that I would have been able to successfully blow up 3 if I hadn't gotten that before. Let's see. It definitely feels like what's going to happen here is you're going to have zombies chasing you from behind if you're not careful. And that unless they're programmed specifically not to run behind you, and I could imagine that we'll do that a couple of times. Like, we might have a couple of gates. Although it probably wouldn't be too much different. May have to move that out of the way. But yeah, there's kind of nothing to this level. And this has barely been 19 minutes. I don't think that there's significant portions of the level that I've missed here. And is there really a reason to go back and check? Seems like you could kind of run around the level some if you wanted to. I guess the question is, can I get out of the level, or do I have to climb back out of here and then awkwardly move the machine? Well, it says I can just exit the level with the walking machine, so let's do that. It very well may have been the only way to exit the level. Really does not feel like there would have been a case where you could have left the giant walking machine behind. Okay. Double handguns. How do we crouch down? Okay. And we are definitely getting more into the spookiness. We're now in a gravesite, which is very far from Castle Wolfenstein as an idea. And it definitely feels like it's fairly unlikely that you would succeed in being stealth if they are going to also have zombies jumping up and killing us. Alright. Which one's the sniper gun? Right. So is there any way we can get through this without just immediately setting off an alert? Like, what it feels like needs to happen is that there needs to be some kind of double and then you can see as soon as the alarm started, I started killing people, you started having zombies show up. So maybe you wouldn't have zombies show up so often if you had stealthed the whole thing. Meanwhile, you're just doing fairly well with sniping things, so and they makes this big explosion effect when they turn into zombies, which makes it real easy. In fact, far too easy. I'm just sitting here letting them hit me. They don't run fast enough or in straight enough lines to be a problem as zombies. Right. And very different experience shooting people from afar and having them turn into zombies versus shooting them near and having them turn into zombies. I'm just trying to find where this guy is. That guy hidden there the whole time, never came out despite in the amount of chaos I created, so I guess that tells me that it would have been incredibly hard to get this far. Now we're gonna have to listen to this all in German. Pause now if you want to read. This feels like this might very well be the exact same audio we had already heard. What would be interesting is if this is actually a different recording from a different person, and it was the hallucination / memory / dreams, or whatever, of multiple patients that helped her find this map. But there's literally nothing else you can do here. Just sit here and listen and reload your guns. Just huge speed bump here. And I'm not really paying a lot of attention to what is being said because I have to read it. I guess you could have snuck in here, maybe, from the back end. We'll look at that as far as what a stealth path would have looked like. But clearly this game is not polished enough for many people to do the stealth path. Nor does it make a lot of sense in a Wolfenstein game. Because if the only way you can beat this game on even moderate difficulty is to become an expert at stealth, that seems very odd compared to Wolfenstein 3D, which this game, despite there being many sequels after Wolfenstein 3D, mostly forgotten about failed sequels, but sequels nonetheless, this game still will be considered compared to Wolfenstein 3D and nothing else, not the original Wolfenstein game, which nobody really played, or any of its sequels of Wolfenstein 3D. And in Wolfenstein 3D, there's no way for stealth. You just are running and shooting. What you could have certainly done here is you could have had some level of magic. Whether it's Atlantean tech or just zombie magic that is not understood. A magic stone that carried the memories or the recording of a conversation. Something that B.J. Blazkowicz could push, could touch, and then see a cutscene, pre-rendered cutscene, or hear in English, even if they're speaking German. You don't even really need the magic. It could just be that the game could have popped up and said, hey, for your convenience, we're going to translate this to English for you. This is a different recording. but just a major speed bump in the game, and we know we're going to go through another area and have another fight, or at least a boss fight. I think this is a different recording. It's been so long. That's the problem of taking prolonged breaks while recording and playing games. If I wasn't a YouTube content creator, I definitely would have just abandoned this game and moved on to something else. Of course, if I wasn't a YouTube video game critic, then I probably wouldn't play half the games I play. So that was another crazy person interview. There's this logical fallacy that crazy people would have anything of logic or be able to say anything logical. Interesting. It looks like this might jump down somewhere. But yeah, I'm looking around here, just trying to get a general idea. Because there's a lot of visual pop-in when you turn, you see things flicker that really shouldn't be flickering, on top of the game also having things that flicker. I guess theoretically, I could have stealthed from the beginning of this level to the right side, and then at least gotten one of the guys killed, and then tried to stealth further. We've got a generator over here making noise, and the game definitely implying to me that there's going to be more of an experience this direction. Just things popping in all over the place. You've got these trees, family trees, being shown. We didn't even look at the collectibles for the previous chapter. Find the way into the dig site. We've already gotten the letter. There's a whole bunch of gold. We've already gotten 2 out of 3 concepts in the character. How do you get to the map? Is the question. Pause goes here. This goes here. This goes here. Alright. So what we can see is that's the general direction we want to go. It's relatively safe to go over here and see if there's anything we're seeing. The dig site is quite the dig site from the looks of it. Big hole in the ground. that seems to have freed this zombie. I don't think you would even 100% assume that it's a disease as much as you would just assume that it's some kind of magic that was sealed by stone, although why would magic be sealed by stone? So down we go in here. And this is a secret area. Okay, good to know. I don't hate that idea, honestly, of the idea of a game just telling you you found a secret area. So from that secret area, maybe you could have stealthed your way all the way through a whole section. Maybe there is a certain level here where you don't, even in these levels, actually need to stealth through killing everybody. Maybe it is just better to stealth out of the whole level. Definitely this feels very much like Halloween DLC, though. At least the last couple chapters here feel like Halloween DLC. And we're back to these electric doors, which I'd kind of forgotten even existed.
What have you been digging for, Helga?
BJ Blazkowicz's voice is still a kind of, I think, good aspect. To this game. Like, I can't at all complain about his voice actor or him as a character, because he's what I came for, as it were, as far as Wolfenstein. It would be very weird if you were playing as a different character, and that's where I think Wolfenstein Youngbloods really dropped the ball, is that while there could have been an idea of playing as BJ Blazkowicz, younger twin daughters, you would have had to have been fairly careful to have BJ Blazkowicz still be the protagonist there, and then possibly have the twin daughters be secondary playable characters, like a 3-player co-op. And even 3-player co-op is probably too much, so you probably would be better off with just a 2-player co-op. I assume the reason why we're seeing the electric doors is because we're going to get back to some of these electric characters. It doesn't feel like there's a system here where the game goes too crazy because there's a zombie around, where I could see an idea around the idea of zombies setting off alarms. If you really were trying to get deep into the idea of the next evolution of stealth games, is to have more things potentially set off alarms and have the skill required in stealth games go up, because I imagine people who are looking to actually play stealth games as the default gameplay mechanic probably do want the games to become even more difficult. I question if maybe shooting the guys near the gas increases their odds slightly of turning into zombies, but I suspect the answer to that is no, and that it is fairly scripted or not scripted at all. There's this guy, and I think the idea here is that he walks back and forth. And I've forgotten the stealth thing. Well, I've forgotten how that was supposed to really go, but that didn't work terribly as a concept. We can get our health and armor back, I think, fairly high. And see, we keep seeing this like 2x lines. Markings, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, it doesn't really feel like too much would have changed had I stealthed my way all the way down there. And it looks like we've been everywhere in the map, and then you have an up and a down arrow. But I don't see how the up really could be up. See, it really does just kind of feel like these markings are random, unless they're supposed to mean something. I suspect what these are effectively just graffiti markings that they chose to add on the walls to make them a little bit more varied.
What drives this madness? You're like a blind worm tumbling your way through the soil, deeper and deeper into the rotting bowels of the earth, into the dark places better left forgotten.
Alright. You'd think this guy could just see me, but he doesn't seem like he can see me. And then the stealth guy that would set off the alarms, I don't see him. Line up these shots. Come on. Yep. Suffice it to say, that was not the smartest way to play that, by any means. I'm probably double tapping on the shotgun too much. That being said, it does seem to be fairly effective. course, you can't play that badly. I Okay. I'm going this way in the hopes that this might help. Which I guess I could have climbed up here and then tunneled a bunch of people. I've got like no guns. So it is just easier to die and start over than it is to actually deal with anything. So the strategy here would have been to climb this wall with the left and right trigger gimmick. Go ahead and just climb up here because I'm fairly certain there's nothing here. Right. And see, I guess the question is, I've forgotten how to hang on the edge of a wall and lean. Alright. And then I guess that would have gotten to that point. Pause now if you want to read. Take that. And that totally changes your like outcome and experience of this level. Certainly when you can just like straight up stealth your way around most of the level, get rid of the one guy that can call the alarms on everyone else, and then that just can definitely see how those characters are like way too strong compared to anything else. Meanwhile, I can just have my way with any other resources that are sitting around. Although I don't know if there's really that much to pick up, since we were fairly well equipped to start with. It definitely does kind of feel like you're in this situation where they've made these levels increasingly shorter because there's the oh, I've been caught way of playing, in which you have to shoot your way out of a pickle, and then there is the oh, I've stealthed my way through way of playing, in which you can seemingly escape. Fairly unharmed. So you have like an arrow here that's pointing to nothing. Then you have an underground thing. You just have this door. You never come back through these levels or anything. It definitely looks like, though, there is a whole nother area. And I just don't know how you would reach that area. Unless there was some structural destruction you could do. It does just kind of feel like they put a cave in. Put a cave in there for no reason. I'm just trying to reload everything.
What are you searching for?
And unless there is some special, like, surprise item here, I can't help but feel like you're not going to really run into too much. They seem to be completely uninterested in you. Maybe that's because I haven't walked into the room, or maybe that's just to indicate that we are about to run into some like boss fight against some. I have to assume it's just going to be a giant horde of zombies. Like, it can't really be too much more. Pause now if you want to read that. Pause now if you want to read that. Like, yeah. Let's go ahead and throw a grenade that way. Yeah. And that definitely is going to create a different scenario. There's a body hanging upside down there. Maybe there's some kind of something more to the ritual. It still makes a lot of sense. They seem to be ragdolling a lot, probably because I'm not supposed to be really shooting them this far away. Pause now if you want to read that. Doesn't really seem like there's too much more. Does seem like you're supposed to go down this direction first. Nope, that's the way they want you to go, so let's go the way they don't want us to go. Well, again, is a blocked off area. But even if you look at the map, it definitely is a half finished area also. Because if this was going to be a multiplayer level of any sort, you would have to account for paths that looped back into other paths. And definitely doesn't feel like there's enough of a map there for that to make sense. Alright, so this is a secret area. Or it's not a secret area. We looped back into the area we were in before, and it's this. Yay. And do I even want to do the Wolfenstein section here? Well, this is yet another level we haven't done. So this is going to put us in an odd position, certainly, where we were in the middle of dealing with the real world zombies in the real world game, and now we're back to a sleep section. But we probably should just play it just for consistency's sake. And so we'll start next episode right at this point. That also makes a very nice point for this to end this episode, because if we just were capable of finding the sleep section now, I suspect we probably had 10 to 20 minutes at least more of gameplay for this level 8, which I think is the second to last level. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we're actually in the last level and we just see a zombie Kruger bad guy, which you assume that's the case, and then that just wraps everything up. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.